How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Emnix Plays Path of Exile Sentinel League. Been a while. Been a while since I last saw you guys. A lot of crazy things have been going on with me so far, and luckily I have had the time to play a little bit of Path of Exile. As you can see, I'm currently in Act 8. Unluckily, I haven't had the chance to record it because I would play in such short, bursts. 20 minutes here, 30 minutes there, 10 minutes here, take a break, 10 minutes again. Talking about my build real quick, I'm playing as a skeleton summoner at this point in time. My passive tree, it looks pretty basic. I basically wrapped over to the left, grabbed some life nodes. I prioritized basically all the minion nodes, grabbed this one, walked over, grabbed this one, walked up, grab these, walk down, grab these. I basically just grabbed all the minion nodes. The aura nodes are very important. And then once I got all the minion nodes that I liked, I basically just started walking around grabbing life, block, things for survivability. In terms of masteries, being able to do more auras. So right now I'm running 3 auras. Well, 2 auras and a skitter bot. A couple minion masteries, give them critical strike chance. Increased effective offerings. And then that's pretty much it. Everything else is just life nodes, reduced mana, life masteries and so on. Not too much to write home about. The goal is to one day switch over to a skeleton mage build. This is the league where nothing got nerfed, right? In theory. So last league apparently skeleton mages were very strong, and I don't think I've ever played skeleton mages before, so I thought I would give it a try. Unfortunately, I couldn't show you guys the progress of what I did, starting from Act 1 to 8. That was just not in the cards. And, but that's, I don't know. Hopefully you guys are okay with that. I do apologize. But I kind of did want to show you my character up to this point. I'm basically just on a very basic 4-link, summon skeleton with melee splash, minion damage, and feeding frenzy. One thing that's really cool about feeding frenzy on skeletons is they get this little cool dash effect. Like I gotta show it to you. You can see them dashing around. Wait, yeah, you see that? They like dash forward, and they get like crazy aggro as a result, which is actually really nice because typically skeletons just kind of, without feeding frenzy, they just kind of sit there and hang around their like little zone, and if anything gets in their zone, that's when they attack. With this, you end up with a lot more clear speed as a result, and it makes it easier to sort of progress through the acts. Otherwise, it's like a very slow progress. But yeah, that's pretty much the build so far. I kind of wanted to make this episode really less so to talk about well, let me turn down the music a little. Less so to talk about the game itself, and more so to talk about where this channel is going, where I'm at in life, because I don't know if some of you are aware, but I'm actually making a new character, and the POBs are a little complicated. There are no base stats, on this character, and unfortunately, I'm just kind of winging it because I really don't know how to build. And if you're not catching my reference at this point, I mean to say I'm having a baby. I'm having a daughter specifically. She's gonna be born in a month, and I'm gonna be busy. I'm gonna be busy, which is part of the reason why I just haven't been able to really release anything. I haven't been able to play that. Oh my god, I'm taking so much damage. I haven't been able to play that much. Are you guys just immune to my damage? What's going on? It's like you're just not taking any of my shit. One sec. Oh, they're not taking damage. I think I accidentally made them immune. But yeah, so like I was saying, I have a child on the way. Very soon. So, you know, I've been playing a little bit here and there, but for the most part, I've just been getting ready. You know, and I think it's gonna be that way for a while, you know. So I don't know if this is the last episode, but we kind of, I don't know if you guys knew, but I always knew that this day would one day come, right? Where it's like, it was getting to a point where I really didn't have time for games, and now it's like, man, I really don't have time. I'm still gonna be trying to play as much as I can in terms of whenever, if I do have the chance, I would like to play. This is, you know, my favorite game, and it is, you know, one of my biggest hobbies in terms of like what I like to do in my spare time. So I hope I'll still be able to play PoE. I'm actually planning on playing on the Steam Deck when I do get it. I have it pre-ordered, and hopefully I get it sometime later this year. Now that they've introduced controller support for Path of Exile, I actually got really excited because I was like, wow, I can actually play PoE, you know, away from my computer, which I already do, by the way. Like I got to Act 8 mostly by playing on my phone. You know, the past 3 leagues I've been talking about it a lot. Hey man, like, gaming on your phone, it works for PoE. It doesn't work great, but it works. And that's basically what I've been doing. Obviously I'm on the PC right now. I think I managed to find a little bit of time to just sit down and play a little bit, but it was mostly to just sort of talk with you guys. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. We're very excited to have this kid. Also very nervous. You know, I've basically never interacted with kids all that much in my life. I'm an only child. You know, I don't have siblings, and there's a lot I definitely do not know. So I'm nervous, but also like very excited. And you know, like this was very much planned. You know. We were at a point in life where we were like, you know what, I think we're ready for a child. You know, both mentally, you know, in terms of we're mentally stable, I hope. You know, like financially we were feeling pretty good about it. So, you know, one of my biggest concerns for a very long time was like, man, what if I'm just like not fit to be a dad? Or what if I don't have the financial support to give my child the shit that we need, right? Like I remember when I was a kid, we were like this immigrant family who didn't have much, and I remember my mom once took me to an amusement park, and it was one of those amusement parks where you can get in for free, but each of the rides cost money. And I remember I got in, but I couldn't get onto any rides because it was like, well, this is kind of expensive, and we currently don't have, you know, the ability to afford it. And it sucked, right? And that kind of stuck with me, and I was like, I hope that when I have a child, I don't necessarily have to have my child experience that. And I hope at this point, you know, she doesn't have to experience that. So yeah, so my kid's gonna be born in a month, and I thought I would just put it out there, you know. I brought it up in Discord already, and somehow some of you have figured it out before I even brought it up. There was a YouTube comment that was like, "There's a kid in the way." When, right? I'm like, did I accidentally leak it like a year ago? Possibly. But that's where I'm at right now. So yeah, like I was really excited about this league. I was like, man, I really wanted to play, and I managed to get a few hours in. I can show you the play, but this isn't very indicative of how much I actually have been playing. I mean, we're 1 week in. I have not been playing for a day. I would play on my phone in the middle of the night before going to bed, and then I would pass out at some point, and I would just AFK for the rest of the night because, you know, I would just drop my phone and fall asleep. And that's basically how I play Path of Exile these days. It's become more of a bedtime routine than like, oh, I'm gonna sit down and get an hour or two of good gaming in. And I kind of imagine that's what it's gonna be like later on as well for me, right? Basically, it becomes like, oh, you know, in between feeding the baby or changing the baby, you know, she's crying, I'm potentially gonna try and play with like one hand on my Steam Deck or on the controller or on my phone or whatever. So, You know, I'm trying to find like the best builds that I can basically play semi-AFK. And it's like, why do you want to be playing when you're holding the baby? It was like, well, sometimes the baby just wants to be held and they're too young to realize what's going on, in which case I do have some time to play. Or maybe in the middle of the night, you know, I have time to get an hour or half an hour in. That's what I'm hoping for, but who knows what's gonna happen. The chances are I won't get to play any Path of Exile at all, which would make me sad because this is, again, one of my favorite games. You know, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Talking about this build, so far this build has been pretty good. It's been a little squishy. I threw in Determination because my defenses just didn't feel very good. 2000 armor, it's okay. And mostly the damage has been coming from skeletons. Like in terms of fighting against bosses, is well, clearly very strong. There's a lot of damage happening here. We're only on a 4-link, and I'm still looking to basically I think I have a unique helmet that gives +2 to minion gems, and which means, you know, our skeletons get 2 more levels, which would be excellent. Now we are a little over leveled, quite a bit over leveled, 6 levels, and this is definitely one of those builds where if you just find yourself not doing well in terms of damage, defenses are different, but damage wise, if you find that you don't have much, you just level up a lot more. The more gem levels you have on your minions, the stronger they get. Like, much stronger, too. It's not just a little bit. So definitely it's one of those builds where it's like, you don't need to go hunting for a really strong weapon. In fact, I'm using Queen's Decree, which basically just gives me more summons. Minions deal increased damage, they have increased life. It's a lot, like, it's basically skeleton stuff. And this is just something I picked up. I haven't done any trading yet so far. Which to be fair, I probably will need to, because I need Dead Reckoning in order to turn my skeletons into mages. But so far I was like, you know what, we're gonna be fine. And the one thing that I'm really missing, actually, is probably resistances. Ever since I fought Katava, I never really fixed my... Oh wait, what's this ring? This one's really good. I never really fixed my resistances, and my gear has just been, like, not good. I'll be quite honest with you, my gear has been like, look, this is my ring. I've been using this since item level 29. So I guess I could equip this. It's kind of better. It's actually, well, it's not worse. The strength is actually really useful for my build. So like looking at my resistances, 38, 53, 59, like it's not good. So you know what? You know, if I'm complaining about my resistances, I shouldn't just complain, I should do something about it. So maybe we'll try crafting a little bit of resistance onto our gear. So throw some fire resistance on this guy. Throw some, is there hybrid resistance? Not really, there's all resistance. What do I need? Cold resistance. Okay, that looks good now. Fire and lightning. Let's see. Here, sure. Wow, cost 3 chaos? No thank you, I'll do this one. Lightning. Okay, I think this is pretty good now, right? Okay, maxed out resistances, 89, 80, 80. Let's summon my skeletons again. And really, these skeletons are just beefcakes. You know, they're there to tank for us. Okay, that looks good. Alright, that looks better now. A lot better, actually. Sell this. And is this affinity setup? It is. In terms of Sentinel, I haven't been doing a lot with it. I've been basically focusing on the Stalker Sentinel. I tried playing with the Apex Sentinel. I'm like, it's not crazy good. I couldn't really find a good way to use it, so I've been just using the Stalker Sentinel a lot more. I picked up some of the bigger nodes, do not empower normal rarity enemies. And then I'm gonna pick up, well, you know what I can do? I can do this right now. Yeah, and then rewards are more likely to be less common types. And then later on we can pick up these nodes, you know, chain additional time, increased number of enemies empowered, and more likely to be Sentinel rewards. This one isn't as important, to be honest. You know, you probably want the chain or the more enemies empowered. That's probably better. And overall, it just gives you a little bit extra. I haven't been getting anything crazy this league from the league content. You know, it's not like Arch Nemesis where things were just dropping like crazy. A little bit different this league. Which is still fine. At the end of the day, I enjoy Path of Exile for the base game, and I come back to play every league because they release new stuff, and that, you know, makes it fresh. But just because the league is not that interesting doesn't mean I won't play PoE. Like, I enjoy the game all the same, you know. Okay, so yeah, that's pretty much my build, and I guess we'll just sort of, I won't end the episode just like this. We'll play a little bit more, get through the rest of this act, hopefully. And you can just see more of this build, and we'll just talk, you know, like it's a regular old episode. Again, I don't know if this is going to be the last one I'll release. I'll try and get out a couple bit more. I want to be able to get into maps. Hopefully I can fight some of those Uber bosses, but man, like, when it comes to late game content, you guys must know at this point, I don't get very far with it. You know, I saw a quote recently that I thought was quite poignant, and I could have related to it very well. It was like, I'm not good at games, I just play it a lot, which is my case, right? Like, I'm not good at PoE. I never get really far into the game. I just play like the crap out of it, and as a result, you know, you put in the time, you put in the hours, and you know, you learn something at least. So I don't know, like this league, I'm not really making my own build. I'm just sort of following a guide, and I think I've sort of accepted that's where I'm gonna be for a while, just because, you know, I don't have the time to dedicate into like, you know, making a random build, you know, forcing it so that it works. It really does take up a lot of time, and unfortunately I just don't have that anymore. That doesn't mean, you know, I'm not having a good time. You know, even though I'm following a guide, you know, being able to, there's still like a certain level of challenge of, you know, building out your character, finding all the gear, farming for everything. Like, there is a lot of work involved still. It's just, it's different work at this point. Nonetheless, you know, I'm having a great time at this league, and I'm actually just really excited to get into the late game and try all of that stuff out. I've been playing, I think I mentioned this, I've been playing a lot more on the phone, but I've been playing a lot more on my controller as well. So, you know, like, often my wife is like, hey, you know, I need help with this and that, and I end up staying upstairs a lot more than I do downstairs in front of my computer. So what I'll do is I'll boot up, you know, Path of Exile on my Steam Link and play on my controller. So ever since they released the controller, you know, things have changed so much, you know, whereas before I just wouldn't be able to get any hours in unless I was in front of the computer. Now I can, like, sort of get some time in just very casually playing PoE, and the controller, I wouldn't say, like, I'm not familiar enough with it yet that I'm super comfortable playing it. Like, I can't say, you know, oh, the controller is so much better than playing mouse and keyboard. I don't think that's true. But one thing I will say is I had like a big problem for the longest time in Path of Exile where my wrist would hurt from playing this game. I'm sure other people have experienced the same thing, right? Like, wrist pain was definitely a very common problem for me. I would play 30 minutes to an hour and my wrist would hurt like crazy. And it's only gotten worse over the years of playing this game. It definitely is not very good for your hands and wrists. You gotta stretch all the time. I playing on the controller is definitely better in that sense, because I don't end up getting those kinds of wrist pains. This is just like, this is just boomer talk at this point. It's like, oh, my body, it's breaking down, my wrist hurts, you know. But it's true, it does, and you know, it's something that I have to accept. You know, that's the way of life now. You do anything for too long, and where the heck is the Ankh, by the way? You do anything for too long, and it ends up not being good for you. You know, like they say, everything in moderation. At this point, it's doubly true. You know. Okay, I suspect that the Ankh is actually like right here, and I just missed it. This always happens, man. This map is insane. But yeah, like the build itself, it's very chill, right? Like there's a reason why it just works on controller. You do need to focus a lot more on defense actually, because on the controller you just randomly die. Your health globe ends up at the top left, which I'm not used to. You know, I've been playing years of PoE with the health globe at the bottom left, so I don't notice when I start dying. And you know, normally I just stare at the life bar in the middle of the screen, which doesn't help because it's so small. And I definitely, like, how many deaths do I have? It must be a lot. I've died 20 times. And it doesn't help that this league was actually quite hard at the beginning. It's gotten a little bit better now with the arch nemesis mobs. But for a very long time, those mobs were no joke, man. People on maps were really complaining. I wasn't even close to there. You know, by the time people got into maps, I was at like Act 3 or something. It's only in the last 2 days that I really pushed a little bit like harder. In terms of like where I was in the acts.
I need more mana.
But yeah, like it's, you know, it was kind of tough at certain points in time. And that's the way summoners are played though. Early on it is kind of hard. You know, you don't have as many sockets, you don't have as many summons. I think once you get more summons, things get a little bit easier because you have minions in the way of other enemies to tank for you. But when you just have so few summons and they just, I don't know, like they don't have any HP, they die super easy, you have to resummon them all the time, it is harder to play, right? So once I got to a point where I had, you know, I went from 4 zombies to 6 zombies to now 8 zombies, and then I could summon skeletons as well. In addition to that, you know, things got a lot easier. And for the longest time I was actually playing with Absolution. And that was how I was summoning my minions. And it works good. Absolution's actually a pretty decent skill. But I would, you know, at some point I was like, the skeletons actually clear faster. Absolution makes me stand in place, which is not great in terms of clear speed. It's not great in terms of defense because at some point, you know, you're standing in place, you're trying to get away, you end up getting hit. So, you know, I did switch out of it. I haven't yet switched out of switched the skill gems out. Mostly because I haven't decided on what I want to do with those empty sockets. I'm assuming it's going to be some utility skills, maybe a golem that would help a lot. And basically just for adding more damage. At some point I do need to pivot to getting better survivability. And that's sort of always the problem with my characters, right? Like I just have no survivability. I pick up as much damage as I can. I think it's like the common Path of Exile problem. You get way too much damage and you die to like certain bosses all the time. And this league is kind of rippy. The Sentinel stuff is rippy too. So, you know, all in all, it's a tough league, I would say. It doesn't make it any less fun, despite what is being said on Reddit. I'm having a good time. I will say that. I'm having a grand old time right now. And maybe part of it is just knowing the inevitability that, you know, very soon, like this is it, right? Like enjoy it while you can, and that's what people have been telling me. Enjoy it while you can. You know, I have a friend. All my friends actually, they're like they're popping out kids at the same time. My buddy Alan, if you guys remember him from a few leagues ago, he just had a daughter as well. I just saw him a few days ago, and he's tired, man. He has a 5-month-old, and you know, he's I mean, at this point they've gotten it down to a routine. But for a while it's like he had a tough time with the baby. The baby just refused to sleep. You know, she only slept while being held. Like there were certain aspects that's like, man, that's tough. And I remember when I sort of announced it on Discord, like, hey guys, You know, I know I've been gone for a while, and you know, this is what I want to say to you guys as well. I've been gone for a while, and it's because I've had a baby. You know, some people, aside from the congratulations and so on, you know, it was like, oh, like, did you ever think you'd be ready for this? Like, what made you decide that you wanted to go for it? And I was like, you'll never be ready, not really. But at some point, you're just gonna be like, you know what, I want it. I want to do it. I think it's time for a child, and as long as you're on the same page with your significant other, you know, it's time to go. So in my case, I guess there was a certain level of like, am I like physically prepared in terms of like the challenges ahead? No, it's going to be challenging. There's going to be all kinds of challenges that I bet that, you know, I wouldn't expect at all. But in terms of like, am I committed? Am I ready to have a child? Yeah, I'm ready in that sense. Do I know what to do with this child? No, I don't. Like, there's a lot that I definitely do not know, and I'm definitely going to be thrown into the deep end, and I guess I'll be okay with that, because that's sort of the best way to learn, I suppose. But yeah, at the end of the day, I'm excited, and I think that's a good sign. I'm more excited than scared. You know, I'm not getting cold feet, which is important in this sense. But yeah, you know, I kind of wanted to take some time as well to not only, aside from letting you guys know where I'm at in terms of my life, in terms of this game that we've been sort of recording and making videos for over the last, God, I don't even know how many years now. It's 5 years maybe. I just kind of wanted to take some time and thank you guys for always tuning in, you know, always dropping by and being encouraging, being supportive, you know, dropping by in chat on our streams, and dropping into Discord, all of that. I just want to thank you so much, because it really was you guys that sort of kept me going. You know, I enjoy the game. At the end of the day, I'll be playing no matter what. But in terms of making videos, that's purely on you guys. And I just want to thank you so much, because you know, it was extremely motivating in a way, where it's like having the opportunity to talk with all the viewers, to hang out, you know, to see what everyone's been up to. You know, in a way, we've developed a really cool community. Like, I feel like we have one of the coolest communities in the internet. You know, everyone's super nice, and we were in a way brought together from the love of this game, right? Like, at least that's what I would like to think. It's just a group of people who enjoy playing Path of Exile and playing games and just hanging out, and I guess being a little boomer at times. And so again, thank you. It's been a fantastic 5 years, and hopefully there will be many years to come. You know, even if the videos don't come out as frequently, I do want to have a way of releasing stuff every now and then. Maybe it'll be at a smaller frequency. Maybe the way we play will be a little different. Obviously, we can't do these kinds of let's plays anymore, which requires hours of commitment. You know, here's what we did every day for the last, you know, here's today's episode, here's tomorrow's episode, here's everything I've ever done. You know, maybe we can't do that anymore. And if you guys have any suggestions on, you know, what kind of video format you think works, definitely leave it. I would love to hear it. I'm actually not sure what I would be doing instead. You know, I've been so used to just recording these episodes, talking through it, and showing you like the daily progress of my characters. I feel like that's the way I like to watch videos typically, and that's the way I end up making these videos, because it's like, well, that's the stuff I like, right? But in a way, things do need to change a little bit, simply out of like a time restraint, right? But yeah, you know, anyways, more importantly, I really wanted to thank you guys. You guys have been a great community, and I truly mean this from the bottom of my heart. You know, it's been a great time just talking to everybody, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this time as well. You know, it's I don't want to call it the end because really it's not. This is sort of a new journey for me. We're taking on a new quest, right? And really, I'm just making a new character. You know, we're re-rolling, and this one, you know, I just this one needs a little bit more theory crafting. I don't know what the best, you know, keystones are. I don't know what the best passives are. We don't have the best build. I'm gonna try to follow the meta, kinda, yeah, doctor or lawyer or bust. You know, or working tech, you know, yeah, but at the end of the day, it's like nobody knows what the best build is, I suppose, in this case. And by build, I mean this child. We're talking in PoE references at this point. But you know what I mean. I'm excited. It's gonna be a new journey for me and for this channel, I suppose. And we're gonna have to see, you know, where it goes from here. I'm excited because as I don't know about you guys, but change is good. Every time there's been change, you know, it's always been, no matter how good or bad, you end up adapting and hopefully you come out ahead, right? Whether this relates to life or work or whatever, it becomes a new experience and you learn from it. And then you hopefully, right? Hopefully grow from it. Not everyone does, and you know, but yeah, that's sort of what I wanted to say. Let's see, it's been 30 minutes. We can play a little bit more. I do need to go in a bit. But yeah, our character, it's, I mean, it's kind of automatic at this point with summoners. Kind of just press buttons, walk away, and as long as you don't do anything silly, like make it so that, you know, enemies don't take physical damage on an expedition and disable all physical damage. I didn't even realize my minions were doing fizz. Now that I think about it, it makes a lot of sense. But as long as you don't do that, you know, you should be good to go. You should be fine. So if you're planning on playing a minion build, as always, you could look up my character. This character name is EmnixDadSquad, for obvious reasons. And more importantly, I would just look up like a skeleton summoner guide. There's so many on the internet at this point, which is basically what I did. It's actually crazy because like summoner builds are, there are so many guides out there, but because there's so many ways to build them, and a lot of these guides just sort of assume you know how to build one. So a lot of these guys will be like, oh yeah, you know, just like follow, you know, just get specters and get skeletons and then get some zombies and you're good. Like it's, you'd be surprised. You would think it would be more thorough, but it's like, surprisingly, it's not, because they assume that you already know everything there is to know about summoners, when summoners is like one of the more complicated builds in this game, I would imagine, because there are so many different skills and utility skills you want to use in combination, you know, in order to have it all synergized together, right? Like summoners really get stronger through synergy. The more combinations of minions that you have, you know, those certain specters make you a lot stronger. And that was one thing I didn't really find, like what are the best specters while leveling. And because I couldn't find it, I was like, you know what, forget it, we're just gonna play skeletons. And I don't regret it. Skeletons are actually super fun, they're super strong. It actually, I remember them to be kind of bad years ago, and after Feeding Frenzy, I guess they just feel really good. So I'm happy to be playing it. Definitely the way I would build around it is probably go skeletons and zombies. Once you get Feeding Frenzy in Act 4, things just get really fast, because now you have clear speed all of a sudden. And before that, I think I went Absolution with zombies, and then occasionally I would drop skeletons just for some extra damage. But I wasn't using them for clear specifically. So yeah, that's pretty much how I would level early on. You pick up some zombies, maybe some summon raging spirits, At some point, you switch to Absolution with zombies.
You're getting by.
And early on, it's kind of slow, unfortunately. If you want it to be faster, don't play Summoner at the beginning, but I'm not going to tell you to do that. I mean, play what the heck you want, right? So, but I believe the meta is like not to play the Summoner early on until you have everything ready to go. But yeah, aside from that, this is our character so far. It's been, you can kind of tell it's quite strong in terms of damage, in terms of like leveling. You know, we're doing great. You know, at this point, I'm just picking up life nodes because I sort of filled out everything else I needed. I would love to get more jewels. I think summoners benefit a lot from cluster jewels. These benefit a lot from ghastly jewels, like the abyss ones. Specifically that node that's like gives you 20% more damage, increased damage when you use a minion skill recently. Those kinds of nodes are very strong for your character as well. Aside from that, you know, just get more life, get more tanky. You know, you want your minions to be doing most of the damage and for you to sort of stay back. But if they do get through your wall of minions, you need to be able to survive the hits because you really don't have any leeching or regen in the traditional sense, right? Like you can't just hit people and leech everything back. You can't just sit still and have like a buttload of armor and then tank everything. You're not really that kind of character. The tanking happens with your minions really, and you're supposed to stay a little bit further back. But really what ends up happening is at some point your minions get so strong that they kill everything before it even gets close to you, and that's sort of the ideal scenario, I think, in any PoE build really. So yeah, that's where we're at in the build. Let's kill the boss in this area, and then maybe we can call it an episode. So let's go look for him. I've been sort of going kind of slowly, but maybe we can try and speed it up a little bit as well. You know, in a way, I'm kind of sad. I'm kind of sad to end this episode because it feels like once I do, there won't be another one coming for a while. You know, who knows when the next one is going to be here. The kid could be born any day. You know, it could come earlier. You never know. So, so it's a little bittersweet in a sense. But hey, you know what? I would like to leave it off on a good note and say that I've enjoyed the last 5 years extremely so. I really have, you know, sincerely, and I'm looking forward to this new journey, and I hope, you know, when I do show up, some of you will still be around to say hi, and if not, I wish all of you the best of luck, and you know, I hope we do, you know, I hope I will be around, by the way. It's not like I'm just gonna be disappearing off the face of the earth. You know, I will be around. Definitely drop by my Discord channel. I think that's where I'll be hanging out the most because I don't need 30 to 40 minutes to sit still and to chat on Discord. You know what I mean? So I would love to hear from you guys. And you know, we have people talking about their journeys in PoE and Discord channel all the time. I love hearing about it, and I hope you guys drop by every now and then just to say hi. And to hang out, and you know, if PoE 2 comes along, you know I'll be there for that. So hopefully by then I won't be a super old man with arthritis. You never know, man. PoE 2, all those delays, it's been a while. It was supposed to get released this year, right? Who knows when it's coming? 2024, 25? Like, I have no idea. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I hope you guys enjoyed, you know, dropping by this channel every now and then. I really do appreciate it. I can't reiterate that enough. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed it, as always, you can leave a like and subscribe to my channel for more updates sometime in the future. Otherwise, keep in touch, guys. See you guys next time. Bye-bye. Bye now. Bye-bye. You can close it now. Bye-bye.